A lot of singles think that the healing comes first and then the relationship comes after. But as a relational psychotherapist, what I know for sure is a lot of the healing comes within the relationship. So you can do the work in understanding oneself, overcoming the hurdles, meet people, and then the real healing begins in relationship with somebody else.
Welcome to Challenges of a Matchmaker. I am your host, Shai Tesler, and I am excited to have you watching today. For those who are new to the channel, Challenges of a Matchmaker is a series which we sit down with matchmaker and relationship experts to discuss the real challenges behind the work. In every episode, we explore three areas. First, awareness and coaching, helping people recognize when it actually needs guidance. The second is preserving relationship, why new relationships often fall apart, and what does it take to make them last. And third, operational, the behind the scenes challenges involved in running a matchmaking business. Today, my guest is Sarah Louise Ryan. She is the owner of two dating agencies. She is a psychotherapist specializing in relationship, and she works with individuals and couples. Since 2011, she does anything in the relationship area from A to Z, taking people from being single to being happily married. Sarah, thank you so much for being here today. For those who may be new to your work, can you introduce yourself?
I'm so happy to be here. So yes, I'm Sarah Louise Ryan. I'm in the UK, so I'm based in London. I own a couple of dating agencies. There's a real reason for that. One of them's really niche, and I work internationally with singles looking for love. So I've been doing that since 2011. And I, in the evening, have my private practice seeing couples looking at reconnecting in their marriage and individuals who are looking to overcome hurdles to finding love. So yes, that keeps me busy. It was always the dream to help people find, build and deepen loving relationships. So that's why I got under the hood of relationships whilst helping people find a loving soulmate.
Oh, it sounds like you're doing your passion every day and every night.
Yeah, it's really, I always say it's a vocation, not just a profession for me. And I knew maybe a handful of years into the work that I found a job that could work for me. I'm from Manchester, I'm a chatterbox, and I really wanted to know people, had a background in psychology already. So when I saw a matchmaking role going, I thought, great, like a marriage bureau helping people find love in this way. And over the years working with international clients and having lived around the world, I started my own dating agency to help those who are busy jet setters because they're often multi-home, time poor personalities looking for love, and they don't want to be on dating apps. They're not into AI. And so we matchmakers still exist for that pool of singles.
Yeah, to connect them with something real and not
Mm,
something that takes them on a journey that doesn't end, right?
yes. The swiping journey that keeps singles single.
Yeah. I'm going to ask my first question. My first question is in awareness and coaching. What are the most common challenges that you see people, single people, struggle with today?
Gosh, how much time do we have in the day? I've got so much to say on this topic. I think we're in an era of hetero pessimism where males who are straight are often feeling really anxious about approaching women. And so they are coming to me for coaching before they start a matchmaking journey because they're looking to eradicate an anxiety that lives in their body. It's a visceral experience, as well as the social anxiety of being in a scenario because, socially, economically, geographically, we used to meet people in the UK down the local pub, in a bar where people were really drinking and connecting and stretching the muscle of confidence because they were putting themselves out there. But right now, people are so busy sitting behind their screens that they are not flexing, stretching, learning how to navigate the social setting and rejection that comes with that. And the emotional resilience is dropping for men. And also with women, women are in their wellness era. And so the guys are playing paddle, the women are at Pilates. Sorry to be really straight down the line about it, but it's what I'm seeing. And women are finding a real sense of community, but it's something that they've always had with other women. So they no longer need men economically, in terms of marriage and the setup, and they don't see the benefits of that. So they want men, but they don't think men want them. So instead, they create more community with women and invest in their wellness. And part of that is coaching to figure out how to meet men, but men are not putting themselves out there. So what I would say about that is men and women are polarized, and that's why I believe we're in this era of loneliness, because it's really it's almost like this kind of what do we call it, a secondary gain. So we're sat swiping on an app, looking like we're doing the work, busy trying to date, but really placing no energetic effort in getting out there, noticing the conversion rate from swipes to dates being, it used to be less than 1%. I don't know where it's at now. And so people are investing in their coaching, their wellness, their fitness, and keeping themselves single. But when they try to date, they're doing it on an app. And so it's just this circle that keeps going round in 2026.
Yeah, I find it interesting. And now that I'm in relationship, now I realize that I will call it confronting, and I hope I said the right word. Like we don't confront situation, we don't use to confront conflicts. There is always the next match. Everything is so easy. I have my friend, she has her Pilates. Everybody is lonely but independent, and nobody really confronting or trying to make the work with on the human connection, eh, where it's really, this is what's really important, and it's super interesting how this technology pushes away from each other.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And then when singles overcome the hurdle that lives within them of approaching and connecting with other singles, the next hurdle is then the anxiety of not being in control of the other person. So we are keeping, when I say we, I'm not single, but singles are keeping themselves so busy looking like they're dating. But when they get into relating, that's the real hurdle, because they're not in control of the other human being. They don't know how they're going to react or connect with them. They don't know their triggers. And so the bridge from one person to another is the real challenge, but getting to that
Yeah,
bridge is a hurdle enough.
yeah, and this is like amazing services like yours doing so help for people.
Yeah. Thank you, Shay. That's really kind.
Thank you. Let's say people coming to you, they start coaching, and then they start realize that maybe some of this it's on themselves, right? You can, everyone it's different, but what is the common thing that make people wake up from the position that they are in to like something that will change their behavior or will be a small breakthrough?
Mm, I think there are a couple of things. Yes, I could definitely talk about this all day with you. So I think one of the things is when they overcome the hurdle to finding the connection and they get there and they are actually having lots of dates. They've created a funnel. It's not a so sexy term, but they've got a lot of singles that they've got dates lined up with. They get to those dates and they're like, oh, what do I do now? I'm now even more anxious about how that date's going to go. I'm not feeling so confident. So there's that piece. There's the fear of rejection in real time and not knowing how to navigate that. I did a lot of research on the rise of social anxiety for a paper during the pandemic about how we relate to each other. I was really interested in the ability or lack of ability to create relational depth when social anxiety lives within singles. So, how can we connect when we're feeling such a heaviness in our body, which is a nervousness that repels, it pushes away? So, to answer your question more succinctly, one of the things is getting on the dates and how to deal with that anxiety. And the other is for people that don't take enough aligned action. So they sit and ruminate about all the things that they'd like to do, the places they'd like to meet people, and they sit talking about it, complaining about it, filling up space and time. But really, they're keeping themselves busy in the complaint. And as you would say, Shay, not confronting the situation. So I help them see the truth between all of the lies of the limiting belief that live in their mind and how much space that takes up.
Mm, thank you.
Hmm.
If there is one message or takeaway around these challenges on single that you think it's most important and will help singles watching right now.
Hmm. Stop being so busy looking like you're doing the work. Take aligned action towards what you want.
Tell me more about it.
Mm, because I think singles today are getting so wrapped up in eradicating the loneliness, so joining communities, but often that are not integrated. So heterosexual singles, like guys joining male paddle groups, and women joining female groups like book clubs and Pilates. Not that all book clubs are for women, but noticing staying polarized. So talking about dating, talking about apps and how they're not working, and not getting out to actual events that integrate both genders with people who are on the wavelength, because that is too scary for singles today.
Mm,
So there's only so much therapy one can do. There's only so much coaching one person can do. There's only so much introspection and self examination. You must take aligned action whilst doing the work, because if singles are waiting for this moment where it's like, aha, it might not come for a while. So, what I'm noticing in a post pandemic world is singles having this fragility of time. So, it's like an awareness of the fragility of time and self. You know, we are only human. And I think it's brought that
yeah.
to the forefront. So, people keeping super busy, but they're not keeping busy actually dating, not actually putting themselves in a setting where other singles of the opposite sex
Yeah.
are.
Like they are all around it, but they are not confronting the real thing. Like right? They're not putting themselves in the place where they make them feel a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe their nervous system needs to get used to this feeling, being in this position, or
Yes.
and also being nervous in the relationship. It's okay to be like I think it's beautiful to feel nervous about someone. It's like it's stressful, but it has some magic to it, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of singles think that the healing comes first and then the relationship comes after. But as a relational psychotherapist, what I know for sure is a lot of the healing comes within the relationship. So you can do the work in understanding oneself, overcoming the hurdles, meet people, and then the real healing begins in relationship with somebody else.
Wow, this one lens. When I started my current relationship, it was like a year after a breakup, a really tough one, and I healed with her, and I grow with her together, and
Mm.
it's like I'm so lucky that she stayed, and I'm so lucky that we did it, and I learned so much from this. It was the best healing.
Thank you for sharing that. That's so powerful. I relate and resonate with that. I mean, the person that you choose when they are aligned with you and the right person, they will trigger you. You know, we fancy the pants off them at first, but then when we work to the real stuff and our inner gremlins come out and we're our true self, for them to understand you and still be curious and express a love for you, and that's difficult, that's when the magic of the healing really takes place, and that's the
Yeah.
powerful work. So I guess my message before was, you know, singles, get out of your own way and get to the dating, get to the relationship, because that's when the journey really begins.
Yeah. And also, funny thing, we talk about confronting. The
Mm,
more like I confront and speak with my partner, like the better the relationship gets. It's like for me, being in a relationship and I was single, it's like I realize it's the only way forward.
yeah. Because when we're as an individual single, we sit with our inner monologue and we tell ourselves so many stories and create a lot of limiting beliefs around things that aren't true. But when we go from having monologues to being in dialogue, where there's two people really building the bridge to one another, that's the healing. And the choppy waters are underneath, but we're moving across the bridge, and that's the powerful stuff for sure.
Yeah, so smart. Thank you. I'm going to ask some question in preserving relationship.
Mm,
And in this area, it's people start to date, and relationship doesn't hold. Like they start to date 1 month, 2 month, and then it ends, and then you take another month to heal, and you two relationships like this, you wasted a year of your life. So, but my question here is, what are the most common mistakes that you see new couples make when they start a relationship?
oh, really great question. So, one possibility, just one of the many, is that sometimes singles who create a new relationship with someone new, they get addicted, hold that lightly, but kind of infatuated with the early stages of dating, where the chemicals are like running wild in our body, and we're trying our best to attach to that person to ease the anxiety and feel secure. But a lot of singles get hooked into that feeling of chasing security, that when the dust settles on all of those chemicals and in our nervous system, a lot of singles can think that's boring and that the passion has gone. And so instead, they leave relationship and they find someone new to recreate the feeling. So often I'm inviting people to slow down and really see if this person is aligned with your values, your wants, your needs, and desires. And do they have the capacity and the want to build your ideal relationship with you, and you with them? Can you collaborate to create that? So it's not just the feeling that you want in the now. Do you have the same goals for the future? It's like plugging it into the sat nav, the place you want to go. So many singles get hooked in onto, like, what job do they do, how much money do they earn, how attractive they are, and those chemicals, that they fail to see the real relationship, the real possibility, and they fall in love, but really it's into lust with potential, and they dip out when those chemicals have settled down and it feels like the passion has gone. So another possibility is a lot of people don't have the knowing or the emotional resilience to do the work to sustain through that, what I often call the power struggle. We go from this place of fancying the pants of somebody and wanting to meet their every single need, but really it fulfills us because we feel of value. When we move out of that stage of like romantic connection, we go into a place called the power struggle where our brains do this thing where they're like, how can you now meet my needs? I'm done meeting your needs. I'm ready to see what you can do for me. And when you've got two people sitting in the questioning subconsciously of how can you meet my needs? Well, it's hard to build the bridge. So we have to go from having two monologues to a dialogue. So we do that with a few different ingredients, if you will. One is having enough curiosity about the other to build the bridge. What's going on for you? How are you feeling about that? I noticed that you had a reaction when I said this. And with the curiosity, our brains think, oh, that person's safe enough for me to really tell them what's going on for me. After the curiosity, there needs to be understanding. Ah, I can see why you thought that, but that's not really what happened for me. So, with the understanding, we have empathy. So, those are like some of the basic ingredients that we need to create a culture where we can express ourselves safely. When we feel safe, our amygdala is not in fight or flight. We don't like kind of flip our lids in our brain thinking, where can I go to feel safe? Because it's not with him or her, it now needs to be with my friends. So when our partners create a place of safety, our full brain can come online and we feel safe enough to be present. Our anxiety lowers. We can then be the person they need in understanding and empathy, and they can be that for us. And then desire, libido, passion stays online. But when we are not curious, not safe, passion goes away, and then we think, oh, instead of working on fixing this and turning it into a safe dialogue, I'm now going to swap you out and replace you instead.
Got it. And it's also, I think, connects to the first topic of if I'm going to swipe and replace you. It's like it's another point of stay and confront and try to understand. Because if you ask the right question and this person answer the right question, like if there could be something here, so it's a shame. And I really curious. Like in the beginning, we say ask the question, ask the right question, and I start to see it recently also in on posts of other matchmakers, and I'm curious. What are the instead of asking about lists, right? Is it to fill a list? What are the right questions to ask myself?
Mm. Mm. The right questions to ask on a first date, do you think? Or in
Myself.
general?
Ask the right
Oh,
question to ask myself.
okay, so let me check I'm getting you. The right questions to be like to self-examine, to be introspective.
Yeah.
Oh, great one. I love this question, Shay. Okay, so whew, getting clear. Um, what kind of relationship do I want to build? Okay. What kind of relationship do I want to build? So we're going to work backwards here. And when you are starting to examine this with curiosity, starting to write down, in my ideal relationship, the way we communicate, are curious, have sex, have conflict resolution, our lifestyle, and start to get really clear on all of the different slices to the relationship pie that you want for yourself. Your family, your values, your extended family, how you make money, how you spend it, how you save it, getting really clear, not because a person needs to fit in with that, but you are able to then manage your own expectations, like you kind of plug in the destination for yourself. You when you have this kind of vision for your relationship in place and you start to date, you can start to check out whether people align with that. So you can ask them questions like, what kind of relationship are you looking to build? Ask about fitness, ask about, the future in property. You can get a gauge on finance and things like that. When you are curious with yourself about the relationship you want to build, you start to notice things like your values, your wants. When you're being curious about sex, you start to think about desire, frequency, romance, passion, and all of these things, they become our own inner compass to map out where we feel like we want to go. So then we become more aware of how to gently ask others questions to see if we're aligning with the right kind of people for us. I think it's really important to think about almost taking stock of people that you've dated in the past if you have a relationship history. And it's a tough cookie to crunch on, but thinking about the responsibility you're willing to take for how that date didn't work out, why it didn't, why that relationship didn't run the distance that you might have wanted it to in the beginning. When you can start getting clear on the responsibility that you are also willing to take for relational breakdowns, you can get clear on the work that you need to do to be more connected to others as you go. This would be my starting point.
Got it. Thank you. And what about questions? Like, I think this is also like could be a tricky place because I can ask myself questions that are superficial, right? And
Mm-hmm.
will lead me nowhere. But I can also ask questions that related to me, to connecting, to like how, because this is like it's a delicate point, right?
Yes. And one possibility is to think about the closest handful of people around you that you keep in your orbit and start to consider, what is it about, my best friend, whoever, what do I like about them? When you can remove romance from it as well, you can get clear on what kind of values you're drawn to in a person, what kind of ways of relating to others you're keen to pursue in a friendship way, because then what happens is you can get clear on how you're going to build a friendship with someone, and then romance can blossom. So this keeps away from the superficiality, but also makes you take a look at what your value system is. One question I often ask I've got a few potential new matchmaking clients that I'm seeing later, so I'm definitely going to be asking them, is that when you're in a room, aside from how somebody looks, let's say there are 100 single guys and you're a single woman, you're straight, what would it be about somebody in the room, forgetting how they look, but their aura, the way they communicate in a group, that makes you feel safe and connected? Is it the jester at the party that's making all of the jokes, holding the space and wanting to be center of attention? Or is it the person that sits back and watches and then has their say intermittently? Or is it the person that's just the observer? And then seeing how no two answers have ever been the same, seeing what it is that makes somebody feel drawn in without the spoken word, um, takes away the lust and the longing. And it's almost about something about this person makes me feel safe. And so then I start to observe in their matches who has this aura about them, who is like, in gentle leadership perhaps, and not always the person speaking. So yeah, interesting
Uh,
questions.
yeah, and it's really interesting. Like instead of asking about list, you're asking about how am I feeling? How do I want to feel in a relationship? How does this guy make me feel? And it's like it's truly makes a difference, right?
Totally. You want to know, is your nervous system going to feel calm around somebody? If so, why so? What is it about their way of being that allows you to be, or to feel free to be you? And when
Yeah,
you start to ask those kinds of questions, you can notice the patterns of the people that you have around you in your orbit.
I love it.
Mm.
From your experience, a fresh couple start dating. What the involvement of the matchmaker should be? Like it should be once a day. How does it work? What is there a formula to make it most successful, or is it depends on the couple?
Mm. I don't think it depends on the couple. I think it depends on the nature of your matchmaking company. And what I mean by that is like if you're, say, working in the Orthodox Jewish community, checking in every so often how the connection is unfolding, are you speaking or not? Like understanding and managing expectations. Similarly, in different religious matchmaking communities, there are certain rules to consider around how things should be. For me, I can only speak for my matchmaking company. We like to check in every 2 weeks because we deal with really busy, often quite smart cookies who are successful. And so they're running companies and they're sitting on boards and things like that. They don't want us or need us to hold their hand. But what they do want is to feel supported in the process. I'm like, hey, Mark, how was that date that you had your third date the other day? How did you get on with that? How are you feeling about it? Do you want to tell me how it's evolving? You want to talk about anything you're experiencing that feels like a hurdle? And the clients feel like they know that we are here, but we don't chaperone them into connection. Ultimately, I think that's my background in relational psychotherapy. I know that they are building the relationship and that bridge is between them. I
Mm,
can't I can't tell them how to build that bridge. I can only
yeah,
offer a guidance. Every day, in my experience, it's too much for the kind of people I work with.
got it, got it. And if they need you, you're always there, right? So
Yeah.
it's also important. Okay, last question in this section. If there is one key message or lesson that it's most important for couple who are start dating and they want this to work and become a long-term relationship.
Mm, yes. Okay. Oh my gosh, I love this question. Shay, your questions are brilliant. Okay. The first thing is never lose curiosity. So don't assume that you know everything about your person when you decide that you're exclusive and you commit and this is on the road to a long-term commitment. Just because you choose each other, don't assume to know everything. Because what happens is couples create what we call a symbiosis, which is a, oh, we are one now. You can finish my sentences. So I can finish yours. We lose our sense of identity, and then we lose the feeling of curiosity. But curiosity is the key to keep the connection, to keep sexual, emotional intimacy and safety. So that would be my psychotherapy take on it. So another way to keep the connection going in a new couple is to never lose the spontaneity, the fun, joy, aliveness that comes with being playful. So when we create surprises and set up, intimate evenings, whether it's a date, something inside or outside the bedroom, doesn't matter, in either way, is that we quite literally change the neurochemicals in our body. When we get into the monotony of life, running a business or working 9 to 5, whatever, we've got the kids, we can lose joyful aliveness. And this is the key to keeping the passion alive. And when we have fun and date nights and surprises interjected into the relationship, the things that are annoying, we notice them less because our body is quite literally shifting in neurochemicals towards positivity in the brain. So when we know that those like little ingredients that are a bit spicy live there, everything else that kind of feels so big when we're losing emotional connection or consistency in connection because of jobs and kids and life, well, actually it's those threads of fun that keep us seeing friendship, keep us connected. And so it's those two things, to be curious and to be playful.
I will definitely try it. Okay, we reached the last section, which is operational challenges of running a matchmaking business.
Yeah.
What is the most challenging thing? What is the most operational challenge?
The most operational challenge is always with people. People are the most complex thing to understand, to connect, to manage expectations of and with. And so I think, for anyone that's thinking about starting a matchmaking company or who has just started one, my advice to you is to know the client. So to really know who you're speaking to. I know in my 15 years of experience that a matchmaking company often speaks to the time poor, uber successful single who has disposable income but no disposable time. So, what do I know about this person? I know that they're A type personalities. What do A type personalities get? They get what they want and they get it yesterday. And they can get it like Amazon Prime with just about anything. The challenge for the matchmaker is to not over romanticize the role of being a matchmaker, is to operationally understand how to deal with elite clientele who want what they want and they want it from you, and to also manage the expectations of that client that whilst there's been a transaction that's taken place, that it is not a transactional process, it's a relational process. For us to have a good relationship with you, to nurture and harness that depth whilst helping you create relational depth, is that we can have a whole list of people in mind for you, but it doesn't mean that you're going to find love with them, because two human beings, how they relate to one another is out of our control. So the challenge of a matchmaker is to manage the expectations of a high achieving client that the only thing they can't manage is finding love. So we manage it for them. And also, if you are a scaling, growing matchmaking company with, 10 matchmakers plus, or even a small team, then to manage people and their expectations when they romanticize being a matchmaker, sometimes a date doesn't work out. Sometimes you have this match in mind and you're so excited about it, but they just don't have chemistry. They just can't find the alignment because they're humans and it's not transactional, it's relational. So to hold and nurture a team of matchmakers who are all romantics at heart, whilst holding and nurturing a whole roster of clientele looking for love. If you're a matchmaker who's growing and scaling a business like that, either on a localized or globalized scale, you've got your work cut out. So you can't just be a good matchmaker. You've got to be a good psychologist. You've got to be a good business manager. You've got to be master of HR. And you've also got to be really good with people.
And I think in the bottom line that business we do with people, right? Is
Yes.
so it's like it's
Yes.
all personal, it's all connection, it's all people in every business.
Yeah, it's all personal, and that's the thing, and we can take it really personally when the date doesn't work out. If you're the matchmaker, you might shed a tear about that, and if you're the client, you might also, because you hold the high hopes. And I guess it's to really understand that we're all human, and when we're
Yeah,
working with an offline way of dating, it's only human led. There's no algorithm here. We can't
yeah.
predict the romance, the joy, the connection. We have to see what unfolds.
Last question in the last technical part is, can you tell me another challenge in running an operation, something that is maybe more technical? Because for me, I have CRM, and for me, it's like I love those challenges. Just I learn so much from them.
Yes. So, a technical challenge that comes for me, I can only speak into my own business, is that I have scaled a team that are based in different parts of the world. And so each matchmaker isn't allocated a specific client because our clientele are quite global. So we're all working for one client. And it's the managing of the systems and processes is like, oh, when did, Kate speak to that client? When did Bryony speak with that client? Oh, did they document everything, super clearly? So it's the integration of communication and documentation when you've got a growing team of matchmakers and a globalizing company. So I think it's the kind of resistance with scaling up. It's the going from being a boutique firm to managing the systems and processes of something a little bit bigger than that.
Yeah,
Mm.
and holding technical standards. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, holding technical standards and implementing that as a standardized approach across all team members. Again, the systems and
Yeah,
processes, you can have them in place, but if the people are, not speaking to each other consistently, then the people need to know the systems, but not just one of them, all of them.
got it, got it, got it. Thank you so much. I learned so much today, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining the challenges of a matchmaker. I was honored to have you.
Oh gosh, it was such a joy. I mean, I knew we were going to talk about hurdles being a matchmaker, but I didn't know I was going to have so much fun. So thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. If people listening to this interview wants to learn more about you, where they can find you.
Oh, yes. So I've got two dating agencies, the Love Collective Global, and then one that's a little bit spicier called Tailor Match. We match on sexual and intellectual compatibility. But if you just want to speak to me directly, it's sarahlouiseryan.com.
Got it. Got it. And I will put all the links to your website and everything in the description of the video below. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Shay. Have a lovely rest of day.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.